There's no social security. You're really dependent upon your sons and your husbands for any sort of security or livelihood. And so she releases them from this obligation, and Orpha leaves.
Yeah.
And I think she does the really practical thing. Like, that's what most people would have done. But Ruth says, I will go with you. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Okay? And so from there, they travel back into Canaan. Yeah. And so that's the story. That's kind of like the famous part you hear it at weddings.
You do.
Which is so weird.
I was mentioning to Nicole earlier. That's one of the things as a pastor that I find really kind of endearing, actually.
Yeah.
How we use scripture that you know, a male and a female getting married. I've often heard this text read where this is two women who are pledging their love to each other, saying, "Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge." And I think it shows the elasticity of the text, that you can interpret it in a lot of different ways.
That it's about joining together, even though you're from very different cultures and backgrounds.
Exactly.
And that's just a lovely thing.
No. Great thing. That's excellent. The next piece, because they then do go back and they're trying to find a way to live back in Israel, and Naomi and Ruth are trying to figure out how to. It's like a 70s sitcom.
It is.
One Day at a Time, or.
I was born in the 80s.
Okay, sorry. And so Naomi's looking out for Ruth, and she notices that Boaz, who is a kind of a hot kinsman, has been checking Ruth out when she's gleaning the fields. Remember that we talked about that in Leviticus, where you have to allow some of the grain to be left so the aliens, the outsiders, can then still have food. So she was gleaning the edges, and Boaz they kind of catch eyes, right?
They make googly eyes at each other.
They make googly eyes. And Naomi, and I should say at this point too, if you're a young person, if you're not an adult, stop watching now, because
this is the PG-13 part of Ruth.
This is the PG-13, even the R-rated part, frankly.
Yeah, it is.
So I want you to have that caveat.
You can pause it.
Or skip forward. It's okay. Ruth says or Naomi says to Ruth, gives her interesting advice. She says, "You need some help. How are you going to make Boaz your own? Here's an idea. Here's a thought. Wait till he's been working all day and he's really, really tired, and then go bring an enormous amount of wine and get him crocked, basically. Get him pretty drunk, and then, and this is the poetry. She says, then uncover his feet after he is asleep or passed out, and she says, and then he'll have to marry you." Now, a lot of English speakers, English readers, muddle through this text, and they go, "Why would he have to marry her if she just uncovers his feet? That seems strange." Feet, the word for feet is regalim in Hebrew, and it is widely agreed by scholars. I don't know how they know this, but it's widely agreed. It's what we're taught. Regalim means genitalia. In Hebrew, so it's like a euphemism.
Yeah.
So this makes more sense, does it not?
Yeah.
For Naomi to tell Ruth, go get him drunk, and then when he's passed out, uncover his regalim, euphemism for to know him, maybe, using another euphemism.
Yeah.
And then he'll have to marry you, which indeed Ruth does, and it works.
Totally works.
So, what do you think about the ethical implications, Nicole?
I know a couple things.
Yeah, tell me everything.
The Bible is not the best place for dating advice.
That is correct.
Pretty much all bad ideas throughout the Bible on how to date well.
David and Bathsheba? Don't do that. It's not good.
Samson and Delilah?
That's not good.
Not good.
But it's a saucy story. It's a real life.
The Bible has quite a bit of saucy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what to do with it. Like, how do you preach this, or how do you apply this to your life? I do know that when I worked at a camp and we did a Bible study on this, all the boys walked around barefoot and said, "Hey, ladies."
Wow. Which I would consider ill-advised.
I know.
Myself. Though funny.
It was funny.
Yeah. No, I personally, I look at this as, this is an example again where the Bible is doing real life. And we tend to stained glass it, we tend to kind of lift this up. I find this when I preach on texts that I think are funny, and I read them and nobody laughs because it's the Bible.
Yeah.
This is a sexy piece. This is an embodied piece of literature, and makes you blush a little bit, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. Song of Songs, or Song of Solomon, another book. It's pretty much all kind of scandalousness.
Yeah.
And it is the most commented on book in the Bible.
That's what, we'll be interested to hear more about that, Nicole. So.
I will, yeah.
All right, so last piece.
The last story is in the very last couple verses.
Oh, you get to correct me.
I do. Ruth is only 4 chapters long. You can do this on a lunch break, read it, and it's quick, it's entertaining, there's not a lot of hard words.
And there's uncovering of feet.
You got a little sauce in there with your sweet. You do. The last couple verses is a quick genealogy on how you get from Boaz and Ruth down to King David. Now, on the outline, and I don't know if you're going to correct this or not, outline that's on the website, it used to say, I'm assuming the corrections will have been made by the time this goes up.
But just to make sure that I'm completely and fully upbraided and embarrassed for my errors.
It says that Ruth is the great-great-great-great-grandmother of David, but really it's just the grandmother. Yeah.
I can take that.
Yeah.
Can't know everything.
Can't know everything. Maybe it's the great-grandmother now that I'm thinking it.
I seem to prove in like every tape.
Yeah. Well, because Ruth and Boaz, I guess it's the great-grandmother. Ruth and Boaz have Obed. Obed begats Jesse. Jesse begats David.
A little back pedal. Do you feel it?
But at least I could do the whole lineage.
At least you didn't, yeah.
Yeah. I can go up too.
So pretty cool though to have
it's very cool.
A non-Israelite.
Yeah, as the hero
of
the story and the hero of the lineage, really, because no one else is really notable in that lineage besides Ruth and Boaz.
And when I think about that from a church perspective, we think less in terms of ethnicity in a church context. We think about membership. Presbyterians are obsessed with membership. We like to count things, and this to me is one of the stories that should remind us blessing does not always come from membership. God can work through anybody in your community.
The people that just show up and uncover your feet?
On that note, I think we'll turn to 1 Samuel.
See you next video.